There we
I
go.
see that. I see the live screen.
Yeah. Well, right now it's just us here to talk about the beers. I don't know if
Ah,
people may show up. I mean, I put some stuff out there. I know you did as well.
yep.
About an hour ago, I just ran some stuff on Twitter and the blog page and some other areas. So we'll see if some people kind of pop in here. Last time we had some people that did show up, so it'd be kind of interesting to see.
Well, all right. Well, welcome to Two Beers on a Wednesday and stuff. I'm Krunch here in Chicago.
And Rod J here in Cincinnati.
All right, and
Actually,
all right, Rod. It was your week to pick, and so what two bad boys did you pick out this week?
so this week we're taking a look at two actually pale ales, but we're going to have two in comparison. We're going to have the Palm Special. I don't know if it's Special or Special, however they pronounce it.
It's special.
Special. And then we're going to have
Yep.
the Dale's Pale Ale.
All
Um,
right.
that will be the other beer.
Now I did a little review thing on the Dale Pale Ale. I had that I would say about 4 months ago. I
Okay.
tried that one out, and so I like to go ahead and be a good refresher for me to remember about that.
Sure.
So that'd be good. All right. Well, for those of you that jump in or are watching this after the live version, you can always follow, Rod J Beer Ventures and let you know when we're having more of these live sessions, and we will, let you know when and which beers that we're going to be trying out, so you can go ahead and go out and grab some of these and taste with us. You
Definitely.
know.
Definitely. And
So
with these
you're
two,
kind of your screen there is kind of frozen up again there, Rod.
there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on? My
Uh,
screen. What's going
there you
on? It's
go. you're too much for the internet, baby. You're too
supposed
much
to
for the internet.
supposed to be getting 30 megabytes. I don't know. I need to go to 40 or 50. I got 30 megs of service.
There you go.
Not off one
Hey.
computer. I mean, my wife's watching maybe some video downstairs, but I should have enough.
All right.
So,
All right. Well, tell her to turn off the 50 Shades of Gray, and let's go ahead and save some of your bandwidth here. All right.
so
So, Rod.
one thing to bring up about
Yep.
these two beers are actually is actually they're both part of 1,001 beers you must taste before you die. So I don't know. I don't know if you've seen this book or not before.
No, I haven't. But it's funny you mentioned that because I actually started on my own, my own Pinterest and everything is basically the 100 beers you have to try before you die. I actually have a board that has that.
Well, there you go. Just,
Interesting. I'm
just
only 901 short.
but so it actually turned out that both of these were actually part of that book. That's actually, I believe, the 2010 or 2013 edition, I believe. But the Palm Special is actually done by the brewer of Brauerei Palm. I don't know if you've ever tried to say that before, but that's how you actually pronounce it. I had to actually research that. And that's the Belgian Pale Ale, coming in at 5.2% ABV, 18 IBU. And in my book, it's on page 221. That one was actually first brewed back in 1904. So that one's been around for a little bit of time, right? So Dale's Pale Ale is actually an American Pale Ale. So it gives a nice little comparison that we'll have between the two. 6.5% ABV, 65 IBU. So a lot more IBU on that one. And of course, that's done by Oscar Blues. And one thing about pale ales that a lot of people don't realize, you're in a bar, right? You usually get it at a time where it's kind of just about, I don't want to say ice cold, but it's got a nice coldness on it. The best serving preference for the Palm is actually between 54 to 57 degrees Fahrenheit. And for the Dale's Pale Ale, is actually at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So actually a little warmer than people are actually probably drinking it out there. So just something to keep in mind there. And when you're enjoying some of these beers, you get them in the right area of the right temperature. It actually helps to give you that much more flavor and aroma coming out of it.
That's correct. That's correct. Hey, one thing we might want to let the viewers know and stuff now is we both know we went through this over the week when you sent out which wine or which beers to get and stuff. I had a little trouble finding it in my neighborhood and stuff.
Oh,
and what did you recommend? What did you recommend for me?
yeah, anybody that is ever looking for a beer they're trying to track down or follow or even see what some of their local bars might be serving, there's a great site called BeerVentures.com. Now, actually, there is an app for it, and I didn't realize when I told you that. I thought there was an app everywhere. It's only on the iPhone, it seems. So if you have the iPhone, you can get an app called BeerVentures.com. Doesn't cost you anything. But if you go to the website, it'll actually let you put in the name of a beer you're looking for, and it'll tell you the closest place that has that beer around you. If any of the bars or restaurants participate on the site and they list their taps, it'll also tell you what beers they're featuring. So where I'm at in Cincinnati, a couple of our bars, I check it, and I know when the taps are changing because they keep it relatively updated nicely. And I can say, oh, they got so-and-so in, I'm going to go try that beer. So a great one that you should have for anybody looking to get around on craft beer, and that's BeerVentures.com.
Right. Like you said, you went ahead and advised that to me, and I, downloaded that. And sure enough, I was able to find it right away. It wasn't too far away. I was able to run out and get it, so we could do this tasting. Otherwise, I would have been, one beer short, and that's not good. That's not good. So,
well, I would have thought and that was with the Palm, which I would have thought might have been in a lot of routine places. I see it everywhere around here. Actually, I got mine in our local Kroger, so I expected that to be everywhere. But you were having a little bit of an issue finding that one.
A little hide and seek for me. So all right. So let's go ahead and pop out this first one. What do you want to go with? Do you want to do with Belgium?
Let's go with the Belgium Palm here. And it is kind of if you haven't seen it before, it's a nice classic label they have on this one. You can kind of get the look of it being around for a while and understanding how this one has been around since 1904. Nothing real of the new fancy type stuff. They kept it old school, basically. All right. Going to get it in. Now, what are you using there for your glass? You got like a snifter or?
Oh, I actually got a brandy glass. Yeah.
Okay.
Because for those that don't know, I'm actually a sommelier, so I deal with more of the whiskeys and the wines, aspect. I do beers and stuff, but here at my new office, have not brought over the glassware over for the beer. I've been bringing over all my wine and everything, but we'll get that up in here pretty soon. Yeah. So I'm using one of my brandy glasses, which is pretty good because basically what you want to do is you want to get it so it opens up and yet forms up into the nose. So you want it to close almost like a tulip. So.
And that's good. I mean, you want to tell them like where they can follow you on Twitter, on your Twitter handle and your blog, and because you do pick some pretty nice wines out there as well. Let them know what they can get at you.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely do. You can always go ahead and follow me at Distributor Wine Guide, on Twitter, or you can always do the bottledgrapesonline.com. You can follow me there, and then follow me also at Bottled Grapes, my Twitter. Okay. So follow me there, and we'll get it. Because what is wine? Wine is bottled grapes.
So we get it into the glass here. And on mine, I'm actually seeing where the head has actually gotten down to about half of a finger. I don't know about yours. It's about the same as well.
Yep.
One of the things you do when you look at a beer, you look at the appearance, you try to get it to a light so you can see the light filter through it. You really appreciate that appearance. And this one has so much of a nice clarity. It's kind of got that golden sunset
Nice
kind of orange glow to it.
Yeah, very nice caramel look to it.
Yeah. And I mean, just lots of lively carbonation taking place that you can see in the beer.
Nice tight bubble.
Yeah. And it's just, as you can notice, it's a classic tight pale ale look that you would want to have. You know, it's a lot of times with the pale ales we get in America, we get that kind of the haze on it, depending on if it's a regular pale ale or an American pale ale, where they're doing more of the fruit West Coast style versus East Coast. So this is just one of the classic ones. And not even going for the aroma on my end, I'm already picking up some of the notes coming out of the glass. I can already smell some of the malts, and I'm sitting back off the glass right now. So it's got a nice aroma already coming out.
Right.
Are you picking that up on your end too?
I get a really nice, you know, it is that caramely smell.
The caramel, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice hops. The hops in there, I mean, it's fresh. This is really fresh. I mean, to me, this is almost like the early fall freshness smell. That's what I like.
So you get that nice little sweetness that actually comes out of it.
Very much so.
Yeah, that caramel's very nice. So, you know, a lot of times when you go through, and for those that aren't familiar, you know, Krunch has mentioned, or he's actually a sommelier. On the beer side, we have the Cicerone, right? So when you're going to actually take the beer like a Cicerone, you look at the appearance, you take the aroma, you follow that up with the taste. And when you take the taste, initially you take actually the first couple sips to get the flavor in, to pick up everything. And then you really start to experience everything from that point on with the mouthfeel and everything else that goes along with the beer.
Well, most people don't know is that, you know, appearance is the first thing. Once you look at something, if you don't like the look of it, your brain is automatically going to go ahead and disqualify it. It's just going to say, no, no, no. And you taste it, and it's going to take a lot to really change your mind just by view. And then when you smell, because this is the funny thing about it, you actually taste 80% through your nose.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a good point, because that gets to, you know, I just did the video about glassware, talking about the American Shaker pint. And people sometimes wonder if glassware does make a difference. And it really does on some of the beers that are kind of designed that way. A lot of your pale ales are designed to kind of be like you're using a snifter glass, more of the wider bottle. Now, this glass I'm using is actually one designed for pale ales that came in a glass set, and it's designed to funnel up for the aroma from the beer as well. So you put it in a shaker pint, like I mentioned on the video. Those are okay as your utility play, but they're not really designed to hold head or designed to keep aromas that long. That's why a lot of times you put a Budweiser or something like that in it, you're a lot better off than maybe some of the more craft type beers, because you're losing it by using that.
Correct. Yeah. The evaporates right out. All right. Well, I'm sitting here smelling this, and I'm getting thirsty.
Look,
I say we get this little baby a tasty thing. Cheers.
So I pick up some of the watery texture, but it's got a nice smoothness to it.
Yeah, really nice on the tongue, on the backflow. It's really smooth. And it's got a
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's got a really smooth flow all the way through.
Yeah.
And then it's got, like you said, a little sweetness right on the sides of my tongue. Right up in here, right on the side palate here. Nice little sweetness.
Now, when you hold it to the front for like a couple of seconds, you feel the bitterness really sit into the front of your tongue, and your tongue's designed to pick up different senses. But one of the key things is kind of like that bitterness it'll pick up, and then you can kind of get that flavor around, and you hold it. Then when you swallow, it should open up more flavors through the mouth as well.
Right. It's a really nice, like I said, it's a really nice after that. It's got a long finish to it too.
Yeah.
Even though, it's just sitting in the back there and it's kind of, hanging with me. Got some flavor. Really good.
No agency really in the back end. It goes down real nice. I mean, this is actually one that wouldn't be a bad, we talk about the summer beers, the lawnmower type beers. You get done cutting the grass or painting or something like that. this is a nice one to have as a refresher behind it.
Definitely. You can definitely see this as a sit on the patio right after work, kind of just at that sunset coming down, just after the heat, just when the heat of the sun it's going, and just nice refresh relaxation. Really good.
And
nice.
even around this time of year, if you have anything where we're getting a little bit of a cold front coming down, Chicago, you're obviously getting cold up there, but if you're around a fire pit, it's a nice beer you can have around a fire pit and sit back and enjoy. And at the ABV, like 5.2, you can go through a 6-pack of these and still be not really too hammered by the end. So it's very nice. When you look at beers done around that range, this versus like saying a Budweiser or something along those lines, I'd rather have something like this, nice, more refreshing, a lot more character to it.
Definitely. It's got a lot more flavor. It's got a lot more things going on. It's not as watered down as some of those other ones you mentioned. And like I said, this is it's not your big stout where you feel like you got a meal. This is really nice. It's just a really good, good medium point. And as you pointed out, this time of the year, this weather, definitely would be a good everyday beer. And it's got a lot more going on than your than some of your regular straightforward everydays.
And one thing I'll say too is, now considering how we started with the head and where it's at now, it was like about a half finger, and you start to see it leaving the lacing behind, and that's the quality of a good beer as well. As you drink it down, you want to have that lacing on the glass.
Right. In the wine world, we call those legs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we want to see some beer legs, but we definitely like to see wine legs.
So let me ask you this, because you do a lot more on the food pairing than I usually do. Mm-hmm. What would you like to put this with?
That right there is a nice, I would probably go lasagna. Mm-hmm. A nice little, even the flank steaks. I throw flank steak, not the thick one.
That'd be a good play. Okay.
Right. Anything that's got a little bit of cheese to it, because just like I said, how I like to do it, I like to pair my food up, with alcohol, because they complement each other. I like them when they complement. I don't want one overpowering the other one. This is just perfect. If it had been a stout, like an oatmeal stout or something, that would cover too much. That would be like putting ketchup over the top of the meal, and we don't want that. We want a nice glaze and stuff. This is a nice glaze for any type of a thin meat. Like I said, the flank steaks. Any type of shaving meat, even a Philly sandwich.
What about tenderloin?
Tenderloin, if you slice it thin tenderloin, thin tenderloin, If you have it too thick, I think it wouldn't cut it.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't cut the thickness.
Okay.
But then again, each palate is different. Yeah. So you definitely go that route. But I myself, I would like it with the thin meat, because I think
I definitely agree with you there. Especially with the pasta lasagna. If you're having something like that with a light pasta dish, you have something like this with a lighter type beer. And that's the one thing that I've kind of picked up going through stuff is, like you mentioned, the oatmeal stout, which, by the way, I saw you had the Shakespeare oatmeal stout as well. Is that a good beer? That is, and that's another beer that's in 1,001 beers you must taste before you die. So by the end of the night, you'll have at least 3 beers off that list. So, but it's a matter, you try to put sweet to sweet, spicy to spicy. Right. One of the things I do out there as well, on some of my Pinterest boards, I try to share some of that information for people as well that want to see the different food pairings. But I definitely agree. And maybe even something like, say, fish might be something good to take a look at with it too. I'm thinking of like Chilean sea bass or swordfish maybe. Those are a little more heavier for fish, but I think they're kind of steak-like in the texture that maybe this might go with it a little bit too.
But it's a little thinner. The fish is a little easier and a little thinner. It's not as hard and chewy and stuff. So I think you're a good
saute beans with it. Oh, I like to cook as well. So.
Tune in tomorrow when Rod is grilling. So, all right. So now let's head up to the Dale's Pale Ale.
Oh, brother, hold on 1 second.
You want to finish your glass?
I want to enjoy it, right? Well, you already knocked it out on me.
Well, that's because I didn't fill the whole glass with the whole bottle. I went ahead and I figured I could do that after the show.
Well, let me. Here you go on that. Let me rinse this. I'll be right back. But
okay.
You continue.
I actually have a new glass.
That's what I'm saying. I only got the one. I actually got the other.
So, we really like to hear you guys' feedbacks and your comments. Definitely leave them in here for us. And, please come out and join us. We just like to have a good time. We're just a couple of guys that are, beer aficionados. Like I said, I'm a wine aficionado, as well as cigars and malt liquor. You can always catch my website. And, we have some other tunes. But join us. And, get in with Rod there, leave some comments. We'll definitely chat back with you. We want to hear, what you have to say. We'll let you know what's coming up in the weeks in advance so you can go out and grab some of these and join in with us. Because like we said, every pallet's different, and we want to hear what you have to say. All right, Rod's back. So
I got
what do we got now, Rod?
19.2 ounces of Dale's Pale Ale. I get the little tongue, little mini me.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little guy. I'm a little one.
And as we talked about earlier, in case you missed it, this is actually a second one of 1,001 beers you must taste before you die. I might got a little too much head on. I got like 3 fingers of head that I poured out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I poured in here, and like I said, I got the nice little thing. But as you'll see with this one here, this is a little bit more orangey golden as compared to the caramel. Now, this is the palm, and this one here with the red lion on there,
Right.
And then the other one there. So you'll see that this one here is a little lighter, a little bit more orange, a little bit more citrusy looking. As compared to the palms, which is a little bit more caramel, a little bit more golden, looking on there, a little bit more rustic.
Yeah, I would say this is more of a golden sunset, golden orange type sunset color. And this is where we start to see the difference between between the Belgian Pale Ale and an American Pale Ale. As I mentioned earlier, you start to see a little bit. You look at the clarity we had on the first one to this one. Now you pick up like that chill haze that's on there.
Right.
A little more of a cloudiness. And that's where the Americans really start to differ a little bit for some of the stuff that's overseas. But you look at that.
What I like to call Flint water. We got the Flint water look.
But you look at the head. This is a little bit better than what they got up there for sure. The head is actually more of a rockier head. It's more of a fluff to it compared to what it was on the other one. This one actually is, I would say, is pretty much just a little off-white. I think the other one might have been a little whiter than what this one is. But you can just see kind of that difference in there. But as you mentioned, the aromas, once you get into it, will come out. But the first one that we had with the palm, the aromas came out a little bit easier than this one. So I'm sitting the same distance, and I had the aromas jumping out the glass on the palm. This one, I don't taste. I have to go in and actually look for the aromas.
Right. And not only that, what I'm getting off the aromas is a lot of citrus.
Oh, yeah.
This is orange citrus, to me all the way. If I was blindfolded or blind, I would mistake this probably for an orange juice.
Big orange.
Yep.
I think a little bit of grapefruit in there.
Yep. But it's more like the rinds. It's not so much the juice, but it's more of a dry rind smell.
Right. I'll make it a little bit of a lemon on the back end. but of course, bigger hops. So this
Yep.
one is coming in with that 65 IBU versus the first one coming in with the 18 IBU. So now we're getting the big hops out of this one. And you get with the big hops, what do you get? You get more of that dankness, you get more of that pineness, you get more of that kind of outdoorsy type beer.
Now, do you get the same aspect, out of your craft beer? Because, as the audience knows, I'm more into wine. You're more the beer guy here. So, with my experiences, I've seen with the American style, IPAs, they're more citrusy, more, where like with the palm, they're not as citrusy, it's a little calmed down. Just like in the wine section, I find a lot of Chardonnays from California stuff are very oaky. A lot of oak. They like really put it in and push it out. Where in France and in Spain, they don't have as much oak. It's a little bit more subtle, a little bit more tame.
Yeah.
You think it's because it's geared more to that American palate?
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, we're American. We like it big. We like it bold for the most part, right? So
Okay.
I think we're used to more of that bigger, bolder type stuff. You look at, you do a lot of stuff with the food, and you look at some of the stuff they serve in their menu. Classic looks, but not as much as we do here. You go here to a restaurant, for instance, a lot of people like to use ketchup on stuff. Right. It's an insult to a lot of chefs when they use that. Over there, they don't use things like that as much. You take the food as it is. It's usually prepared a certain way. Now, part of it might be that we're used to just having those big, bold flavors, especially with food. A lot of restaurants over here will serve it more bland because they're trying to do the mass appeal, kind of like the big three, right? Like Miller and like Budweiser. They get out there and they want to do a mass appeal to get the most people. So you don't have that craft effect. But I think now when you get into the craft beers, we do like to have that big experience with the beer. We want to really enjoy it. We really want to get the flavors out maybe a little bit more than over there. But that's why we're now seeing an explosion more of craft beer, I think, overseas. They're starting to say, we like some of those big flavors. Just like when we had jeans, they wanted jeans, so they want to get their American groove on too. And it's great for craft beer.
Right. Well, to me, sometimes I think it's just a little bit too much makeup. It's like a girl that, she looks so great and stuff like that, but in the morning, you're kind of like, and stuff. And sometimes that's what I get the feeling, if they try to over makeup some of the stuff, they try to put too much stuff into it. They do it in the wine industry, and I feel sometimes in the craft industry, in the craft beer industry, they try to do that. And, I'm glad that we're kind of, me and you and, the rest of the guys here, we're kind of hopefully to, weed those ones out, because I really don't like that when they over make up something and put too much in that really shouldn't be there.
Yeah, and I think that's an issue that you're seeing now on some of the IPAs that have come out. So many people jumped into the IPA area that you had stuff that was becoming too hopped, too much citrus. People started turning away from some of the beers. There is a balance, and it's a matter of creating that niche. I mean, there's so many different flavors you can do that to sit there and just try to copy people, you're going to fail to a certain point.
Correct.
Starting to see stuff now where people are like, for instance, we have a brewery here called Urban Artifact that does sour beers. They specialize in just sour beers, sour and wild yeast type beers. Now we're seeing more and more of the industry go into that area and try to do that. And it's like at a point, it's going to be too many people trying to do it because they're going to be trying to do stuff they're not used to doing. So it's good. It's good when breweries can actually specialize and focus on what they're actually good at. I think they make a better product doing it that way. But
correct.
It's craft beer. People are going to experiment. They're going to try different things. And that's the kind of the fun of it too. And, some of the reviews I've done, I've had some where it was like not a good beer, but that's all par for the course. You're going to hit a bad beer at some point. And
that's right. That's right.
I will never sink dump a beer. I've seen that on videos. Any beer I get, I will drink the beer. Unless it's so bad from like, I've had one beer that was so bad I couldn't drink it. And that was because a friend was home brewing and he just didn't know the right formula. But any beer that's decent beer, I'm going to finish the beer. I just think there's not a bad enough beer where you're going to actually dump it. And I think you got to also temper your expectations for that beer. So, I had a comment from one of the viewers on my YouTube channel talking about how he liked the variety of beers that I do in the reviews. And I think that's how you get a better palate, by trying everything. I'm not one of those craft beer snobs that says I'm only going to go craft beer. Yesterday I did a review on Steel Reserve, which is kind of your low cost beer, but a high value for someone that might want to save a few bucks. You have to experiment and go through. You got to have hamburger while you still have ribeyes and you still have sirloins and you still have New York strips, right? So you still got to experiment with everything along those lines.
Yeah. Well, you'll never know what a New York strip, the quality and the value and what you really experience if you haven't had a hamburger.
Right.
That's what I tell people. Is you go ahead and if you've always had vanilla ice cream all your life, and someone says, "What's your favorite ice cream?" You're going to say vanilla ice cream. But
right.
Once you get your first experience into a Baskin Robbins, 61, 31 flavor, oh my God, you just opened up, and now you actually will be able to find your, the ice cream you like.
Yeah, because the day I found cookie dough, it was the end of the world.
Mine was actually Superman. When they did Superman, I liked that one.
Yeah. But yeah, you have to get out there. You have to experiment. You have to try different things. And I see some people that do the reviews and they get a beer and they're like, "Well, this beer is." I've seen great beer has a 0 on Budweiser. No beer deserves a 0, right? That's just people being harsh, trying to put their nose in the air. It's like you take the beer and what the beer is. Now, if I'm out there I used to play softball. If I'm playing a softball game, I'm going to have a bud because I'm not going to go out there and do craft beer and try to chug craft beer and not really enjoy it. Budweiser serves a good purpose, I love steak, but once in a while I get that craving. I want a hamburger, and that's how you got to be able to be flexible along those lines. I don't like when people are just so rigid to just say, I'm only going to do this, this, and this. Well, you're missing other opportunities for other things. And you're not really expanding your universe.
That's right. Well, that's right, and that's why the people that those of you that are watching right now, and those of you that just catching this after we've done this, this is what we do for you guys. We're just giving you real reviews, from two real guys. Yeah. That's all. All right, so let's give this Dale Pale Ale a little taste out and see what we get. A lot of citrus.
A lot of citrus. Citrus explosion. It's a stronger texture than the previous beer. It's got a nice little bit more of firmness, not as watery as previous.
No, yeah, it's definitely not as watery. I get a dry, linger after it, and it literally, my mouth is literally like I took that orange rind and I licked the outside of that orange.
Right.
That right. I get that nice dry citrus flavor, but dry flavor. It's not, it's not that thirst quenching juice wet.
Right. And one thing I like about this one is you take it and you hold it for a couple seconds. Mm-hmm. You swallow, you start to feel the flavors actually come up through the nose.
So it's right.
The mouth, it'll start to come up through the nose, and that citrus really get around. It starts to get into the cheeks a little bit. It gives you a nice, good duration of the length of time you can really enjoy that flavor.
I get the bubble, the head of it, forming back up in the inside of the mouth there,
Right.
Almost like if you were to take hydrogen peroxide, and that foamed all up. You drink that, it gets that nice little foam.
Yeah.
get that nice little foaminess in there, and you swallow it down, then you get that nice foam. It's like you had a nice fresh head, to follow back with it.
Yeah.
I like that.
And speaking of the head, the head does last a good amount of time on this one. And look at all the lacing behind this one. So it's actually doing a great job as far as hanging in there.
Right. This one here is definitely more, in my opinion, more of a salad type, something that's got vegetables, in there. With that dry, your fish, definitely your fish that you were talking about, because that would, if you grill and you had this, it's like if you grilled oranges on top of your fish. You put some of them out there. This, in my opinion, because it's a little drier and stuff, it's actually a better beer to go with a meal.
Yeah. And I was thinking, you were saying the thin steak earlier on the first one. I'm thinking more of a thicker steak on this one. Maybe a strip, something along those lines. But what I'm also thinking is a little bit of spiciness. So a nice spicy Chinese dish might also work a little bit well. Mongolian beef might be a good thing if you could put this
There
with.
you go.
Something along those lines. So a lot of your pale ales, especially your India pale ales, will work well with a lot of spicy type foods also.
Right, because you got a lot of that fruitness and the citrus that goes with it. Oh, very good.
That is really good. I mean, and going down, carbonation is really solid on it. Don't feel like it's overcarbonated. Really does a good job of hanging in there. No astringency again on the back edge, and that's the big. Like you don't have that pucker sensation on the back edge like you do with some of the beers that are overdone. So, and this is kind of like their flagship, like an Oscar Blues, right? So they've been doing this since 1998 on this beer. But you look at what they've done. They've got a great lineup between this and they get into their 1050. They got that new one, the Death by Coconut. I mean, they actually take time to put care into the beers they're making. They're a great outfit up there I think they're out of Colorado, and then they have another location now that's actually, I believe, out of another state. But they're growing.
Well, that's probably See, this one here was from Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. Like this says Brevard, North Carolina.
Okay, see, that's why mine was smaller than yours.
So they say that people in Colorado are smaller than North Carolina.
You got the Mile High, and the pressure up there kind of to try to squash the can down.
Well, they got other things. They don't need as much beer. They got other things they're doing too. But this is a solid beer, and I've always really enjoyed Dale's Pale Ale. I thought it was always a good production they put together on this one. It's one of the finer pale ales that are out there, and the good thing with this one is it's reasonable, right? So this one that I got was 19.2 ounces. At our local grocery store, it was like $3.29, which is a decent deal. I mean, this is a value like they have with Sierra Nevada, like their pale ale. Real good, classic pale ale. You're not going to pay out of the nose for it. It's going to get you wherever you want to go, and you're going to really enjoy it type thing. That and their Torpedo at Sierra Nevada are probably the best deals you can get on pale ales. And this one is right there with them.
All right. Well, you hear that, guys. We had some really good ones. We had the Palm here from Belgium, and then we had the Dale's Pale Ale here. So we had two little head-to-heads, a little different texture, a little different taste, each one a little bit better. So if you have any questions and stuff, please go ahead and leave it down here in the comments on Rod J. BeerVentures in his YouTube. Definitely he'll answer any questions and stuff. Follow him because we'll definitely let you know what next week's head-to-head matchup will be. And you too can go out and join us. And remember, if you can't find it readily available, jump on to the Beer Menus app or beermenus.com, or go ahead and pick up what was the book you had, the
1001 Beers
Before You Die.
You must taste before you die. So that's kind of almost like a Bible out there in the industry. Well, not the industry, but for fans of a lot of craft beers. There's a lot of stuff dedicated to some of the beer. Now, keep in mind, it's not saying it's definitely the best taste in 1001 beers, but from across the spectrum, it's like a wide range of stuff that they've included from different reviews, different polls, all that kind of stuff.
So go ahead and follow Rod J. BeerVentures there for your craft beers and stuff. You can go on to Bottle Grace Online and follow me for some of my wine tips and stuff. If you're ever in Chicago or Cincinnati, hit us up. We'll definitely glad to meet up with you, and hopefully we'll see you in the event. Any questions, any comments, please leave them there. We'd like to hear from you, and we would like to have you participate in here. So I'm Krunch from Chicago.
Rod J. in Cincinnati.
And we'll go ahead and catch you guys later. We'll see you at the bar stool.
Do you want to give a shout out for your blog?
Like I said, I got distributorwineguides.com. So get on to distributorwineguide.com,
Okay.
and you can follow me there. Or like I said, just go to Bottle Grapes online, and you can follow me through there. You can click and find my Distributor Wine Guide blog.
And you got Krunch branding too, right?
Crunch Brandings, yes.
Yeah.
That's the overall, yep, that's my overall management of all the my companies.
There you go. And then I'm everywhere.
Right.
You Google Rajay BeerVentures, you can find me pretty easily. And my blog, rajaybeerventures.blogspot.com, out there on Google. So make sure you check it out. A lot of talks with some of the breweries and a lot of the beer reviews and everything along those lines.
All right.
All right.
So we'll catch you guys on the next tour. And please hit us up and follow us, and go ahead and join in with us. We'd like to hear from you.
And with that, we say cheers, right? I don't have any out music, so maybe next episode.
We'll get you a band. We'll get you a band in there.
Well, cheers, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
All right. Have a good one.